Hey guys and gals, it's me George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and we are on Route 80 somewhere in Ohio. Not sure exactly where, but as you can see, my truck is going up on the ramp. We were in the passing lane and all of a sudden the engine just quit and it popped and hesitated, and I tried starting it again after I got pulled over and it would start but not keep going. I'm thinking I got bad gas this morning. Worst case scenario, fuel pump. That's my guess. And this is our AAA tow driver, loading her up. He's from Interstate Towing. So we're going for a ride in a tow truck. So hold on to your hats and we'll get back to you with a further update a little bit later on. Bye for now. Okay guys and gals, we're back. And they're unloading. We're at a tire repair shop, and we want to thank Robert for the great service. He came quickly and it's been very efficient. Also want to thank the police officer that stopped, put out road flares for us and called in, and he actually got contact with the record service before AAA did. And yeah, we have been very blessed. The rain has stopped for the moment anyway. And we got to have a fun ride and a rollback with fuel stories. So we'll bring you back again when we got more information on what's going on. Interstate Rec Towing Service. Okay guys and gals, we're in the shop now, and this is Chad. Wow, Chad. My oldest son's name is Chad. All right. And he's going to fix my truck. And I'm not going to bother him. I'm going to get out of the way, but I just wanted to give him credit for getting my truck fixed when it gets done. And I'll be back when she's running again. Well, hi guys and gals, me George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and you saw the 3 clips in front of this, and I forgot to turn the camera back on. As it turned out, the issue with my truck was that the rotor came loose. The screws came right out of it inside the distributor. And in talking to my high school chum, he said that's a common problem with these General Motors V6s, depending on where the part was bought from. And so he wasn't surprised by it. Make a long story short, anyway, they tested the fuel system because I thought that we had got bad gas that morning, the way it stopped and then tried to start again, but it was fine. And they ended up putting their diagnostic scope or whatever they call them on there, and figured out that the problem was with the rotor, and they replaced the rotor and the cap and the spark plugs. Because I hadn't done them before going on the trip. I had pulled one spark plug out and it looked okay. Figured it would last me for another 3,000, 4,000 miles. So I didn't bother to replace them, because to replace the plugs on that, you have to go in through the wheel wells. Well, it was a whole lot easier for them to do it with the truck up on a lift. Anyway, it took us several hours to get that repair done and get back on the road, and we missed our first appointment in Michigan We were supposed to meet a family that we know from years past, and we ended up staying overnight in Brighton, Michigan. And the next day we drove on up, and you saw what happened the next day. We went and visited at Wally's place, 66. Woohoo! We had a great time there. But I got to tell you, in spite of that breakdown on the road, while we were there at that tire shop, there was another couple getting their vehicle serviced, and we were in the waiting room with them, and we got into a conversation, and I got to tell you, they were fellow Christians, and we ended up having church right there for about 2 hours. So the time flew by, and we had a great time, and as well as the mechanic, Chad, who worked on my truck, and the shop manager. They were all very helpful. In fact, the shop manager loaned us his car to drive down the road to Walmart to make a couple of transactions we needed to get done. So all in all, we got things done that we wouldn't have gotten done that day, and met some wonderful people. Got our truck fixed. It ran fine. It is still running fine. And I am going to check into the distributor, because the mechanic thought maybe the bushings in the distributor were getting a little bit worn. So I will be checking into that, and if necessary, I'll replace that. But it ran fine the rest of the way. And I had guesstimated beforehand that we would probably only get 15 or 16 miles to a gallon. Well, as it turns out, over the 3,800 miles that we drove, we got about 21 miles to a gallon, which I think is pretty good for a four-wheel drive crew cab. And it was loaded. The pickup bed was full, and the back seat was packed with clothes hanging and stuff on the bench seat and on the floor. And we had the AC going most of the time, and listening to tunes and making videos that you saw. And overall, we had a great time on our trip. And well, you've seen most of the video footage of what I took. I have one more clip to put up, but we're glad to be home and to have my nice new driveway. Woo-hoo! What a wonderful thing that is, having a cement driveway. Yes, sirree, Bob. So thanks for following us along on our trip and our journeys. I did have the pinion seal replaced in Massachusetts just because it was weeping a little bit. I don't know if I mentioned it in another video or not, but you had seen me do the brakes, the emergency brakes on the rear end, and had to pull the axles and change the fluid and everything. Well, they found that when they pulled the pinion seal out, that there was still some moisture in there. So they cleaned it out and changed the fluid again. And I thought maybe I should do it one more time, but we'll see. They called me on the phone while they were working on it, actually, and asked me if I towed a boat with it. And I said no. I said I don't, but I think probably the previous owner did. And I explained to them about the water that I had found in the differential. So that wasn't a huge fix. Just didn't want to have a chance of it dripping all the fluid out and seizing up a rear end, which would have been a much more difficult repair than doing our ignition system. So until next time, this is George, the Shade Tree Fix-A-Man, and these were 2 times I couldn't fix it myself. Oh well. Glad to be home and finally getting caught up, almost back to normal again. Bye now.